Yeah, let's go a couple different directions. Let's start obviously with the Angels. Angels, the day after the World Series ended, the window opened to make trades. And the Angels traded for Jorge Soler of the Atlanta Braves. They traded middle of the rotation starting pitcher Griff Canning to get him. Now, Soler pops home runs. There's no doubt about that. Soler plays the outfield sometimes like there's landmines out there. He's really risky. Soler hit 241 last year, did hit 24 home runs. Prior to that, Soler had done well in Kansas City, had done well in Chicago. My only question about getting Soler, and they've kind of intimated Soler designated hitter. Well, I thought Anthony Rendon might be your designated hitter, and there was conversation Mike Trout might become the full-time DH because he's been hurt so much in the outfield. Why is Soler so important to the Halos right now? Or is the philosophy is if you put another big bat in the middle of the batting order, that's going to make everybody else more dangerous around him? They need a lot of players in Anaheim, but so they're the first one to make an offseason deal. Second name, this one surprised me. All these guys are opting out of the contracts that have these clauses that would allow them to declare for free agency, all represented by Scott Boras. Cody Bellinger did not. He's elected to come back, and he's locked himself in now for the next 3 years at Wrigley Field at, I think it's $27 million per season.
Wow.
Had a bounce-back season, did hit home runs, played a really efficient, pretty aggressive center field. He's the kind of example of a guy, certain type of ball player with power that fits a certain yard. Him and Wrigleyville, that kind of makes sense. So that's a bit of a surprise. He's gone there. Arizona. I don't know if they're going to regret this, but right now they have to be regretting this. They had the late signing of Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
The ex-Texas Ranger who a year ago was in a World Series and pitched his guts out and helped the Rangers get the ring. Well, they signed him late, like Snell went to San Francisco and Matt Chapman and all those guys that held out late, all Boras clients. They signed him and they paid him $22 million last season, and he was miserable. He was so late to camp. He just never got it in rhythm. And they wound up going to the bullpen at the end of the season. He fired the agent, Scott Boras. Anyhow, there was a clause in that contract, a second-year option. They got to pay him $22 million because he picked up the option because he was not going to get $22 million on the open market. So Arizona kind of got stung there. Arizona did pick up the option of the third starter in the rotation, who was a pretty good pitcher, Merrill Kelly. Had a lot of injuries last season. He's a kid that went to Japan, invented himself, came back, pitched well. They picked up the option on Merrill Kelly. So the D-backs, are going to have their full rotation back in place. Latest story off the field. This is Dateline Tampa Bay. Now, you have to read between the lines on this. Devastated, Tropicana Field, Suncoast Dome, the destruction of the roof by the hurricanes last month. All the panels have to be replaced. The infrastructure has to be replaced. Where the Rays going to play? We've had this dialogue. Are they going to play in Orlando? They're going to play in Charlotte. Might they play in AAA ballparks in Florida? City of St. Petersburg on Sunday just announced they are spending $6.5 million to put in irrigation for the baseball field at Tropicana Park. There's no irrigation there.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're banking on making the playing surface playable for the summer rains and storms that might happen. Why would you spend $6.5 million in St. Petersburg to fix something without knowing whether or not the team's actually going to be there? My feeling is there's probably been some behind-the-curtain conversations. The Rays have looked at all these other locales. Maybe they stay there. They make it an open-air stadium, and now they're putting irrigation in when they do have rainouts or thunderstorms that it'll drain properly. Maybe the Rays are going to play there under the sun with no dome, no roof.
That'd be cool.
Because I see no way St. Petersburg is going to fork over $50 million to put new fabric and new infrastructure above there. So read the story behind that one. The last one, the Milwaukee Braves logo. We've talked about baseball, where players come from, and obviously the Little League World Series in Williamsport's become really special.
Yeah.
ESPN's done a great job promoting it. Baseball has poured money into it to make it an event. And now they have a major league game that's played in Williamsport every year. The first pitcher ever to win a Little League World Series game who got to the major leagues, the first one ever, just passed away. His name was Joey J. He was a bonus baby pitcher with the old Milwaukee Braves in the 1950s, and then went to the Cincinnati Reds and had a really good career. I think it spanned 9 years. He won 99 games.
Nice.
Joey J's just passed away. I think he was 93 years of age. But, we recall now current major league players, like the late Sean Burroughs, who went to the Little League World Series and starred. Joey J was the first one ever. And I remember as a kid, because I had his baseball card, I said, wow, how special is this? This guy pitched for Little League World Series team from Florida in Williamsport. He just passed away. So news and notes in Major League Baseball. And John Riley says.
And I say, well, let me just get the screen out of the way. I also think of Profar. He pitched in the World Series, didn't he? Even the Little League World Series. That's an interesting storyline, because it was a big deal, even when I was a kid, that they had a World Series for Little League. And I like that story. And it's cool just talking about the Milwaukee Braves, the
Henry Aaron Milwaukee Braves.
Yeah. You don't get a chance much to talk about. The Tropicana Dome story to me is the most fascinating because they could actually put in real turf, and then, they've always complained about how that stadium is like an erector set.
That's my language. Yes.
Yeah. And the sound bounces all over the place. It would be a very different environment. It might actually be kind of cool. Because I assume they'll have those, what would you call those? Those spanning
buttresses.
Structures?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably have that. So it'll be hot as hell in there. But it could be a very interesting angle. And it's definitely a lot cheaper than paying $50 million for a roof. And so maybe they figure they're going to be able to get a lot more fans because of the novelty, and it'll easily pay for the $6 million for it.
Well, read between the lines. We'll see what the Rays have to say.
I like the whole thing.
Major League Baseball has given Tampa Bay and the union, because the union has input, till Christmas week to make a decision. Where are you going to play your home games? So it's on Tampa Bay working through the union to negotiate that. Like or dislike Soler in the middle of this batting order with the Halos in Anaheim?
I saw that trade and it kind of caught me off guard. And I thought at first, Jorge Soler to the Angels, like, all right, Angels are getting a player, a decent player. But you brought up the fact, didn't they talk about making Mike Trout the DH? And it's so now Artie Moreno screwed it up again. Like he went right away for a trade, jumped the gun at the start, and now he's probably stuck himself. And Anthony Rendon, you cannot count on that guy at all.
No, not at all. He's missed so many games. And unfortunately, tragically, Trout has missed so many games. And now you get Soler. The rule says you can have only one DH. Now they got 3 potential DHs there.
Yeah, so they're going to be a defensive nightmare.
Yeah, they're not done dealing. Trust me, there's got to be more transactions coming. Okay,